Hey everyone, happy Monday. Here we are once again. I am freshly back from time off last week with my son, completely unfiltered. I am here in the flesh, raw and human, but we missed a memoir minute last week, so I'm bringing it back this week, regardless of what's happening, not being camera ready here. So memoir minutes, right? We get to learn about writing a memoir a couple minutes at a time. And I am your host of these shorts, Allie with the Right Place, Right Time, which is my virtual boutique of ghostwriting and book coaching services with a specialty in memoir. Now, we have been talking over the last however many weeks about crafting an emotionally compelling story. And I've been giving some tips and tricks to think about as you're developing that manuscript. Now, we're going to be getting off this train here in the weeks to come and focusing more on tools in your toolbox. But for today, I'm giving you one last thing to consider when you're developing that manuscript and you're drafting and revising. And that's to watch how much crying is happening on the page. Now, memoir is not usually about the happy moments in life. So obviously, as we're sharing the experiences that we went through, there probably was in reality a lot of struggle and strife, which might have included being emotional about something that had happened, including a lot of sobbing and crying and tearing up. The thing is that when it starts to happen on the page, every other paragraph, unfortunately, it really waters down the manuscript with almost an over emotionality, even though that was true to the experience. The reader is getting it all at once, and it just feels like the character being a, quite frankly, whiny mess, rather than seeing any kind of narration from the perspective of now looking back and weighing in on what occurred, right? So while it might be true that we were emotional during the time, that we did a lot of crying, we don't necessarily need every single time that we cried to appear on the page and be narrated and told to us as we're writing out the story itself. We can mention one time that we broke down and then insinuate that there were other times that those breakdowns happened without necessarily having to show us a scene of that person crying every single time that it occurred in reality. So there has to be a balance between the emotionality of your main character and your protagonist with some reflection, introspection, commentary, and context to kind of even it out, keep the story moving, and keep the reader engaged, not just feeling like they're reading the same thing over and over again. So, just like Tom Hanks said once in A League of Their Own, there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in writing memoir. Even though that's not 100% true, but more or less the premise is the same. Like to some extent, while we want to be whole beings on the page, we want to be dimensional and multifaceted, and that includes some crying. We need to be balancing that out with a lot of other things that are happening there in the manuscript. So if you want to chat about your book and the things that are holding you back, the things that you're struggling with, you want to ask questions about how to do this well and do it the right way, then please let's chat, let's talk. I offer a free 20-minute story stroll. It's just me and you, one-to-one on the phone, chatting about your story. And of course, the other thing that I want you to be fully aware of and grab is the 5-step writing guide to starting and finishing a memoir, which is available on my website, therightplacerightTime.com. That will give you the bird's eye view of the full path ahead from blank page to publication. So go grab that. If you got any questions, drop them in the comments below, and I'll be back again next week with another Memoir Minute.